So when a tennis legend worth $240 million like Novak Djokovic trades in a tax-free life in Monaco and an $11 million Marbella mansion for a new home in Athens, you really have to ask yourself, like, well, what's going on in Greece? What should I be aware of? And it's very important to know that it isn't just the golden visa that Greece has. It also has a very attractive tax program no one really talks about. Hi, this is Jeremy. This is Millionaire Migrant. I left the UK in my 20s. It wasn't just for tax that I left, but it was one of the reasons. But I also wanted to grow my top line as well. And since then, I've been traveling around the world, looking at all the different countries to get residencies, passports, bank accounts, set up businesses, and really take advantage of all the tax offerings we have around the world. Most people think second residencies are just backups, but actually for the global elites, they are financial tools, and Djokovic is actually proving this with his move to Athens. Let's look at what's happening in Athens and in Greece in general and understand why he's doing this and why other sports people are also taking advantage of other similar tax mitigation strategies. Most of you will know that Greece has the golden visa option, which is 250,000 euros. It gives you a 5-year renewable permit. It means you can include your family, spouse, and kids as long as they're under 24. That's important. And there's no stay requirement, and it will give you full legal residency rights. So this is a very, very popular program. It starts at 250,000 euros, but it can go up because it really depends on what type of investment you do. This is very important to understand. And there's certain asset classes and criteria related to this. Then you also need to understand that there is a flat tax program that you can have, which is the kind of like a lump sum that you can have in Greece, which is similar to the one in Portugal, similar to one in Italy. Switzerland is another one. But essentially what he needs to do is he needs to pay 100,000 euros a year, a flat amount of tax, and then 20,000 euros for each additional family member. Again, very similar to the Italian program, which is already getting a lot of traction, attracting a lot of people from the private equity world, moving up to Milan, for example. But Djokovic decided to go on Greece. So this gives him a fiscal status for 15 years. The only condition is that he must not have been a Greek tax resident for the preceding 7 years. So similar to Portugal, where I did mine, you need to, and Portuguese people, by the way, could also do Portugal, and Greek people can also do this program. You just need to leave that 50% tax, be outside for 7 years, and come back in. Most importantly, of course, Djokovic needs to transfer his tax residency from Monaco, which is where he is currently a tax resident, and then he needs to stay for over 183 days per year within the new country. So this is very important. Italy's program, on the other hand, also used to be 100,000 euros. The difference is that about a month after the UK cancelled its non-dom program, it actually whacked it up to 200,000 euros because they just looked at UK, thought, you guys are nuts, looked at Greece and said, probably people will take us over Greece and we can just make a little bit more money. Very, very shrewd, and it's working for them. I'm not saying that people aren't taking up Greece or people are actually staying in the UK. That is happening, but I can tell you that Italy got it right on that because it seems to be a lot of people moving there. And we'll give some examples of some of the people who've already taken advantage of that program. Now, you could say, why didn't Djokovic go back to Serbia? Well, first of all, he doesn't get on very well with the leadership there, political leadership. He's got 15% capital gains, 20% dividend tax, so from all of his marketing rights, his image rights. He's also got to pay 50% on income tax. So he doesn't really get any benefits or exemptions because he's a high net worth athlete. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for him to go back to Serbia on personal grounds, but also financial grounds. Plus, of course, the fact he's just going to be mobbed in the street all the time. So again, this is one of the reasons why a lot of people go to Monaco, is they don't get mobbed so much. He was also in Spain and spending a lot of time in Spain. No one really knows if he was a tax resident in Spain, taking advantage of the Beckham law, the Mbappe law, where he paid 24%. No one really knows whether he was one or the other because he did spend a lot of time in Spain, but largely speaking, it probably made more sense for him to be in Monaco, like a lot of other type of athletes. So he didn't really take advantage of that. He did like the lifestyle, though, it could see, and obviously there's not that many tennis courts in Monaco, so you can see why he was down in Marbella. I know a lot of friends of mine who work in private banking in Monaco. We have a few clients there as well, so I understand that it looks all very glamorous from the outside, but a lot of the people who live there, they actually find that they like the tax advantages, but sometimes the lifestyle is not really for them. And I don't want to go get into the details. That this video is mainly talking about Greece. So what he's got in Greece is now he's basically got a blend of of the strategy, the lifestyle at the same time. So he gets the environment, the weather as well for playing tennis. He gets a little bit of privacy. He gets the tax advantages. He gets access to the tennis courts, and he also gets very good access back to Serbia. So if he wants to get back, he's a lot closer than where he was before. He would also have EU access. So again, this is something that would be interesting for him if he wanted to take advantage of this. But the most important thing is that the tax residency he's going to get is not actually going to give him the actual permanent residency. So what he needs to do is he also needs to get a golden visa for the 250,000 euros. So he needs to calculate that as well. That is something that people need to understand, is that if you want to do this in Italy, for example, if you do it in Greece, you also need to be able to get a golden visa, because the fiscal residency is not the same as the permanent residency. Other top athletes who've done similar things would be, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo. So when he went to Juventus, it was fantastic for Juventus. Well, it was actually fantastic for him. I think Juventus is still trying to get out of that situation. But essentially, he took advantage of the Italian program. You've got Fernando Alonso, Dubai. You've got Lewis Hamilton, Monaco, but also Ferrari. Is he in Italy as well, doing the same thing? And then you've got Lionel Messi when he went to France. That one was, well, that's different for him because he was paid tax-free anyway on his salary. So you can see that essentially all these athletes are all taking advantage of this and going to different parts of the world. I think what is interesting to know is that it's not just in elite athletes who can do this. Your average person can do it as well. So for example, myself, I went to the UAE tax-free, but I also got Portuguese residency. I got Portuguese tax residency as well. So that's something that I have. I can still take advantage for the next 8 years. So you can imagine I have something that is future-proof as opposed to right now. Obviously, I'm not at the same level of those guys by quite some distance, but I took advantage of the fact that I could pay negligible tax on my global income on the condition that I was in Portugal and on their tax system, which, by the way, Portugal was a fantastic place. Unfortunately, the NHL that I did was the best one. If you ask anyone in the world, that was the best tax program because you didn't even have to pay 100,000 euros a year. Unfortunately, now they've tweaked it. It's still good for some people as long as you match the new criteria. So essentially, these are what people are doing. They're taking advantage. They're playing to the whole game to their advantage. Sorry about the tennis pun on the advantage, but essentially, it's all just a game and you can play it. And sometimes those high tax jurisdictions like Europe, where people think, oh, it's huge taxes. Actually, it isn't. They will actually have their own programs designed for a particular type of people who can go there and then have an exemption, all the income that they make outside of that country. That's a very important distinction to make, is that if you're in that country and doing business in that country, you will be taxed there. But from the money that's coming outside, that is something that can be exempted. And the crazy thing is even indigenous Greeks or Italians or Portuguese could also do the same thing. So you could actually be a Portuguese citizen paying 50%, but as long as you leave, stay out for a certain period of time, and when you come back in and do the correct steps for your tax residency, you could then earn your passive income or your external income, and then that could be brought in tax-free. So you work overseas, make lots of money tax-free, invest in jurisdictions there that are higher yielding than what you get in Portugal. I bought a property in Portugal. It wasn't the best experience I had, and of all the properties I bought, it wasn't the worst, but I pretty much broke even at the end of it, but that's fine. It was a personal investment as opposed to an investment. But essentially, you can go back into your own country and then for a period of, depending on which country you go to, but let's say 10 years, earn tax-free income on all that money that you've saved tax-free, invested tax-free, and bringing back into your country tax-free. The game is there to be played legally, of course. I would always disclaim that. I don't give financial advice. This is the standard disclaimer. But this is something for you to consider if you want to take advantage of Greece or any of the other countries. So you can reach out to myself and all my team of experts here. I've been in this industry for 15 years now. I also practice what I preach in terms of passports, residencies, tax residencies, overseas investments. You'll see kind of blurbs coming up here and there just to give you a little bit of background. But reach out to our team. We'll be more than happy to assist you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you on the other side.